And here comes Ken Hurst from Ajax. Welcome, Jay.
Hey, Jay, there's Camille, Leanna. Good. Oh, Chris, you snuck in there too. I'm not telling you. Hello. I'm not telling any more stories.
Welcome, Ken. Thanks for joining.
Thank you.
Jay looks awfully still. Oh, there he goes.
How you doing, Jay?
Hey, Leanna, Camille.
Hi, Camille.
Wayne.
Hi guys. I've got myself on mute because Frozen's playing in the background right now.
I think Gord Wallace crawled in.
I am here.
Oh, hi, Gord.
Brad,
Yo.
dog.
Yeah.
Cheers.
And here's to the Wallace clan.
I'll drink to that.
Mr. Routley.
Hey, folks. How's everyone?
Good.
Hi, Wayne. Good. Good.
Good looking group.
Hey, Steve. Steve R.
Steve.
Right. In typical Bowmanville Rotary form, we won't get going until at least 3 minutes past the start point. But we also have to make sure that that we get our guests, I guess.
It's a good thing Hutton's not here.
Good thing who isn't here?
Hutton.
Yes.
Hi Ken.
Hi, how are you?
Good. Nice to see you.
Thank you.
Hey, how are you, my dear?
Oh dear, I can't seem to get any video here.
Oh, that's too bad, Joe.
Here we
Well,
are.
there's lots of
There
video
he is.
happening. So
There
there
we
go.
go. Not that anyone really wants to see me, but there I am.
Oh, we all do, Joe.
We do.
Hear you? Well.
Yeah, right. Yeah, you hear enough of that. Hey, Ken, how are you?
Terrific. How are you?
Fine, thank you.
Good.
Has anybody ever said, Joe, that you've got a face for radio?
Oh dear, that's not nice.
You just did now.
You just didn't know, yeah.
I was asking if anybody ever said that because
No, they didn't actually, Gord.
for everybody here, it might be funny because it's Joe. It wouldn't be funny otherwise if it was somebody else.
Hey, Joe, you've given our guest the coordinates, right?
I have.
Okay,
Yeah.
good. Just wanted to make sure.
You know, he actually called me at 6:03 saying that he had logged in but I couldn't really understand what he was saying. I said, "You're an hour early," because he was supposed to be in Central Time. So perhaps I'll call him now to see what's happening.
Okay, I'm sure he'll join in, but yeah.
Maybe I can find my phone. I should look for my phone. Hang on, I'll be right back.
Okay.
Linda. Hi, Chuck.
Oh, hello.
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 Hey, Chuck.
Yeah,
Linda, how you doing?
We're doing
we're
good.
doing fine.
Doing good.
Yeah, that's good. Haven't seen
you
or
look
heard from you in a
terrific.
while.
There's only one thing to worry about. That's nothing.
Oh, you think so, do you?
Yeah.
Oh, Steve, can you hear me, Steve?
Linda, did you just get out of the spa?
I can, yeah.
You look wonderful.
Did you just
Oh,
get out of
thank
the
you.
spot?
No.
Yes, she did.
I would love to go to the spa. I'd love to go anywhere, never mind just the spa.
Yes, just somewhere. Somewhere would be nice.
Got that right.
Hey, Doug, who's that good looking lady over your shoulder there? Oh, bye, Bev.
Thought it was an interesting speaker tonight, so she thought she'd listen in.
Excellent.
Oh, hi, Bev.
Hello.
Hi.
Your dad says hello.
What?
Your dad said hello. I talked to him today.
Oh, goodness.
Yeah.
Good.
Oh, there's a story in that. I'll tell you later. It's.
I cut his hair on Monday and I'm doing my mom's hair tomorrow. So
Oh.
if real estate doesn't work out, I think I could become a hairdresser.
Well,
Bev, can you do a fade?
Yeah.
Do you do Rotarians?
Oh, wait. Wayne.
Yes.
Hey, Steve.
I didn't mean at the
Hey,
meeting. I didn't
listen.
mean at the meeting.
Wiener, that's a bad question.
Hey, Steve, it's Rajesh here.
Hey, Rajesh.
Rajesh.
Hey,
Hey.
how's everybody good?
We're good.
Oh,
We're good. Thanks for joining in, Rajesh. We got you loud
My
and clear.
pleasure. Yeah, and Steve, is it okay if I join back in 10 minutes? I'm just driving, going to go home and join quickly.
Please. Yes. Yes.
Thank you.
I'll
Thank
make
you.
sure I let you in. All right. Be
Yeah,
safe.
thank you very much. See you
just knock
soon.
twice.
Yeah.
That's the secret knock.
Yeah.
All right. We're gonna press pause here. First off, all of our guests, Ken and Rhonda and Jay and, well,
Ben.
Leanna, you're still a guest for the next few minutes anyways. We typically get started right about now, 3 minutes past the start time, but we're going to wait just a little bit, make sure that we've got our guest speaker before we roll in.
Yeah, I just called him and didn't get an answer. So I'm going to try texting him. I'm not sure what's going on.
All right. In the meantime, talk amongst yourselves.
Is he in Arkansas time, Joe?
But he's actually in South Carolina right now.
South
which is
Carolina.
Eastern
Okay.
time.
I guess
And he
that-
called me an hour early, so I'm just trying to get him back. If I can figure out how to send a text, I'll be fine. Here we are.
So I hear you had a good day, Steve.
Yeah. Yeah, it's been a day. It's been a day. So listen, I'm shameless. I'll tell the story while everyone's here if you haven't seen it on Facebook. So sometimes the day kind of sets a pace for itself straight away. This morning, I had an earbud fall in the toilet at a pretty bad time. So, and then I had to fish it out of the toilet. And that's pretty much how the rest of my day went.
Oh my.
So, you know.
Sounds
So-
a little crappy.
Yeah, it was a pretty crappy day, Lyle. It was.
It could have been your phone.
Yeah.
Does anybody ever log into Facebook just to see what Steve is doing?
Every day.
And
Sometimes,
the premier said unto Steve.
sometimes Kim and I run out of things to say, and we just say, I'll say, hey, Kim, why don't we log on to the Facebook and see what Steve K is doing right now?
This is what the pandemic has brought us all to, right? Is it terrible?
Wayne, I have a question for you. Are you related to a Hannah Routley? Works at Trent?
No,
Oh, okay.
not that I'm aware of. Not that I'm aware of, Lyle.
You have any children that you're not aware of?
Oh, there's a story there, but we won't talk.
So, Amy, are you looking forward to the pets training?
I registered this morning, so I got an email from Ron Dick already. So I went on to RI International, and I'm just starting to go through all of the president stuff that I need to go through before next Wednesday. So I will admit, though, not a great way to spend my birthday.
Oh my.
Oh, happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
Next week. But yeah, I have I think 3 Zoom meetings that day already. So fun.
Oh, well, you'll have
But I am
fun.
looking forward to it.
Good.
Amy, are you doing funerals on, it's a morbid question, but does Zoom play into the funerals that you're doing?
I'm using Microsoft Teams.
Same thing though, they're virtual, is that right?
Oh yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
We
it's
attended
causing
a
me
virtual.
it's a whole new level of stress that I never knew I would find.
Yeah, I'm sure.
So thank God my hair was white before this happened.
On that point, Amy, it looks like you've got some internet bandwidth there, though.
Do I?
Yeah, it's working well, Amy.
Todd says he's logging in now, so.
Oh, great. Then that's perfect.
Just tell the kids to stay off the internet for the next hour.
I've done that already.
Oh, there you go. That's why it's working.
What do you mean? What are we supposed? Here comes Dr. Todd Jenkins.
And your neighbor
Cool.
and the people down.
You look rather dapper there, Gord.
Yeah, thank you.
There
for
he is.
Emily.
I like that. Looks like an ascot, is it?
I think that's Steve's doing.
It is an ascot.
Yeah, I saw that on Facebook. Steve was getting it, and it's like, there's a backstory to this, but I don't know what it is.
You know what's really funny is within the last calendar year, I've actually shopped online for ascots, but never actually made the purchase.
Now, does your ascot and your socks match?
Who says I'm wearing socks?
Well,
All right. So with that,
He may not even have pants on. You don't know.
I didn't ask about his unders. I just asked about his socks.
Don't know.
It's too much
That's a
information,
lot
Wayne.
of information.
I was wearing a golf shirt up
so
to
folks, if it's okay with everyone here, I'm going to call the meeting to order.
I think you should.
Good idea.
Summer.
First off, I'd like to welcome. We've got a few guests online. Ken Hurst
hi,
from
Bev.
Ajax. We've got ADG Jay Canning's on the line. We have Rhonda Gorham on the line. Welcome, Rhonda. And we also have our guest, Dr. Bowtie, Todd Jenkins, who's going to get a more formal introduction in just a few minutes. Welcome all. Thank you for joining the Rotary Club of Bowmanville. Oh, one more quick welcome. For a very short period of time, Leanna Hall is a guest of the club, but we're going to solve that by inducting her a little bit later on this evening. Folks, you all know that I run a fairly tight ship and I keep meetings close to an hour when we have a morning meeting. We're going to run over a few minutes this evening. It's an evening meeting. We have a really great speaker and some really interesting other pieces going on. So we're not going to run rush ourselves through this session. So bear with us. With that, let's move on to toasts. First off, a toast to Her Majesty, to the Queen.
The Queen.
To the Queen.
To the Queen. To the Queen.
To Canada.
Canada.
And to Rotary International.
Rotary.
International.
And while we have everyone here, again, we're still in the pandemic, so all of our frontline workers, including grocery store workers, everyone, and all the shoppers here on the call. Here's to you.
Everybody.
All right, and with that, Leah Bourgeois, I think you're on deck for the invocation, aren't you?
I am. Good evening, everyone. I'd like to credit tonight's invocation to Sean Bird, a Rotarian from Shwassop, BC, District 5060. Service happens in laughter and friendship. Service happens in quiet conviction. Service happens with firm intention. Service happens in growing kinship. To all humanity and attention, to service above self.
Thank you, Leah. Fantastic. And Pauline, over to you. Do we have any birthdays or anniversaries?
President Steve, we don't have any birthdays to celebrate. We don't have any wedding anniversaries. But Dennis Bulio celebrates 27 years of service above self.
To Dennis.
Wow, that's good.
Yes.
Okay, we've got a couple of special announcements on the go here. I think I'm going to throw it to Chris Salasco first.
Thank you, President Steve. Evening, everyone. You've now all seen, I'm sure, the Valentine's Day dinner at home or to go event that we're running. So far, it's off to a pretty good success. We just require everybody's attention to promote it a little bit more through Facebook. Rachel's going to send it out a few more times yet. The thing to realize is that we need all the orders by February 6th. So January ends basically this weekend. So we're down to a week. So the more people that can get the word out there, the better. And we're hopeful for a good event. So thank you to everybody that's participating. For volunteers, it looks like I have a pretty good list already. It'll basically come down to how many deliveries we have to make, and then figure out how many people will need to be at Clarington Toyota. And thanks, Don, for lending us your space that Sunday evening. So I'll connect with everybody once we figure out how many volunteers we need, and we'll go from there. So yeah, continue to get the word out, share it on Facebook and other social media, and hopefully we'll have a fantastic event. So
excellent. We're doing well so far. We already have 22 dinners ordered ish. And so that's great news. Put the hard press on. Please share. All of you on social media, get the message out there. And Joe, you've got some really good news for us, don't you?
I'll put this hat on. This is the Feed the Need hat. And I'll put that on. You haven't seen that for a while. So the numbers are finally in. And we netted, this is after a few expenses, which we didn't have a lot of this year, but we did have them. So we netted from the Concert to Feed the Need 2020, and we netted 20. We netted $20,120, which is, there you go. Thank you. Yeah, thanks to everybody. Big thank yous to everybody. That last year we raised 14,000, so we bumped it up this year virtually, which was great. And a reminder that, you know, for every $1 you give to Feed the Need, they can distribute $7 worth of food to our hungry neighbors who really are in greater need than ever. And so that's $140,000 worth of food that is going to be going out thanks to the money that we were able to raise. Some big thank yous. First of all, to our club and to all the other clubs. I know Ken is here. And maybe some people from other clubs. There were 6 Rotary clubs in Durham that got together to present it this year, and one even from Toronto who chipped in. So that's just wonderful. It's a great example of Rotary really getting together on this. And a big thank you to all the sponsors, many of them from our club. So thank you. We couldn't have done it without all the wonderful sponsors, and especially from ones who are in our club, some of whom are here tonight. A big thank you to the committee. Just wonderful work by all. People from different clubs were part of it. Special thank you to Rachel for all you did. Rachel, you were great. Doing social media, I'm basically acting as a sounding board for all my freakouts, like once a week at least. And
twice a week, Joe.
Also to Claire, Gail, Ron, Collis, Lloyd, Steve, I'm sure I'm going to leave people out, Jen Foley, and a special thanks to Mark Robinson, who put this show together technically, did a brilliant job and kept it from basically falling off the internet as well at one point. And lastly, big thank you to all the musicians. I mean, these folks are so generous. They stepped up when I said, you know, hey, do you guys want to do this? The response was tremendous, so tremendous that we actually went overtime over the time that we had. So it was, you know, a success. And the important thing is that we helped a lot of people, and we will be helping a lot of people get the food that they need over the next few months. And we're so glad to be able to do that. So
thank you, Joe. Thank you.
Can I respond on behalf of Feed the Need?
You sure can. Absolutely can.
Yeah. So on behalf of Feed the Need, myself as board chair, and Ellie, who is now a board member as well, I'd like to thank our club and all of the clubs and the musicians. And I would especially like to thank Joe, who put this together and gives his heart and soul. So thank you to all. We really appreciate the support, and we look forward to next year.
Fantastic. Yeah, Joe, I love that you turned your vision into reality, and then your new vision was a Durham-wide thing, and you turned that into reality. Fantastic story. Well done. Something that we're all very proud of because of you. Thank you.
my pleasure.
All right. And with that, Rachel, would you do us the honor of introducing our guest speaker?
I would love to. I am super excited to introduce our speaker tonight, Dr. Todd Bowtie Jenkins. Dr. Todd, I first saw on a Tuesday talk with 7070. Dr. Todd Jenkins is a leader in diversity, innovation, and inclusion. He's also a Rotarian and a proud Paul Harris Fellow. He has spoke all across the world, including Africa, Asia, South America, Europe, and of course, North America. Dr. Todd Jenkins is here to talk to us tonight about diversity and inclusion within Rotary. Welcome, Dr. Todd Jenkins.
Hey, thank you so much for that awesome introduction. It's so good to see everyone. Everyone looks so great and look healthy and hydrated after that toast. It was really nice. I'm really excited to be here, and thank you guys so much. And Joe, for all your work and all that you guys are doing in the community in spite of all that's happening today. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen because I want to go ahead and get started with the conversation, because I can open it up for question and answer at the end if time allows. So if you all don't mind allowing me to share my screen, I would greatly appreciate it.
Yep.
All right, here we go. Awesome. Okay, so I don't know, like I said, how much you all know about me, or if you have been able to read anything about my background. I'm going to be talking about moving from diversity to inclusion, and just a little bit more about me outside of what you may, well, first, let's start with a couple of things. I'm originally from South Carolina, born and raised there. I'm not sure if anybody ever been to South Carolina on this call. Uh-oh, we got a couple of hands. Oh, yes. Okay, awesome. So born and raised there. I've been in school like all my life. Yes, I went to school. My background is like psychology and sociology. I'm like still in school.
Yeah, I can't. It can't be too.
I'm sorry. Okay, yeah, sorry. If you don't mind muting everyone except for me, that would be great. Okay, perfect. Okay, so yeah, so I've been in school my entire life, as I was saying, but outside of school, I love to go to beaches. And actually, that's the only time I don't wear my bow ties is on a beach. And also, I love to travel locally and globally. And it's been very interesting with COVID. You know, I've not been able to travel on the airplane, but I usually travel to about 5 countries in a day due to Zooming. So I Zoom and travel all around the world. So COVID did not disrupt my travel experiences, if you will. But if I stand up, you will also understand that when you see me, you would say, wow, he also loved to do other things like eat good food and really enjoy cultural drinks. I love food. I love food. And of course, I love Rotary and I love bow ties. I don't do all this alone. I live here in Arkansas. That's another place. Have anyone ever visited Arkansas? Okay, wow, Steve, you've been around. But Arkansas, I live here in Bentonville, Arkansas. Bentonville is home of Walmart. Walmart headquarters is actually 3 blocks from my home. So yeah, so we are Wally World, we're Walmartians and all that stuff, or whatever they want to call us. But I don't do all this by myself. I am a proud husband. This is my lovely wife. And she allows for me to share my passion with the world. She's incredible. I try to keep up with her, and I'm still working on it. And of course, we don't live by ourselves. We have 2 fur babies. This is Nyla and Merlin, just letting you know a little bit about myself. And I'm happy to announce in about 3.5 weeks, I will have my first baby son come into this world. So I'm so excited. So it's nothing you all can say to hurt my feelings today, okay? Because I am just so joy. Even in the midst, I'm a little sick right now, but I'm still happy because we're able to give life, and I believe in that opportunity, and it's just such a blessing. And so I'm very happy. So what are we going to talk about today? Okay, we're going to talk about bow ties. I can't come into any conversation without talking about bow ties. I'm going to tell you a little quick story, and then most importantly, we're going to talk about Rotary and some things that's happening in Rotary, as well as giving you all some things where we're trying to go, etc. So you may be wondering, what's up with this kid with the bow tie? Like, they call him Dr. Bowtie Todd. You can Google, you can Google like Dr. Bowtie Todd, and my name comes up in my picture and stuff. It's kind of funny. But let me tell you about the bow tie story. And it's very interesting to me when I travel. Whether I'm traveling down to the gas station or Walmart, or I'm going to Korea, and during the flight, people will ask me, they will stop me and ask me about my necktie. And they would ask me like, why do I wear it? Or people give me like positive commentary. It's really never negative. People are like, oh, it looks cool. Did you tie it yourself? Or, people give me a little smirk and smile. And I really had this epiphany. I started to think, what if we lived in a world, if people would genuinely stop what they're doing to be curious about another human being that they never met before, just as they've done about my bow tie. And so what I noticed also in research and a global inclusion practitioner is one of the most challenging things that I see is people are challenged on how to have conversations with people who are just different than them. It's a challenge. And what I also noticed is that not only challenging with conversations, but it's also challenging with like Zoom presentations too. Like, how do you really, really make this presentation great? So what I did was I created a simple acronym with of the word bow tie, which you can like even use and still if you like it. But this is what's going to be our expectations for tonight conversation. So let's get started with what this acronym means. The first letter of bow tie is the letter B. Okay, and B stands for in any conversation, I ask that you be mentally present. So, I know that we're all virtually connected and we're physically in our own space, but I ask for this next 20, 30 minutes that you be mentally present. The next letter of bow tie is the letter O, which stands for openness. I'm going to share a lot of different things and stats, and I'm just asking that you have an open mind and an open heart. Okay, I'm not asking that you're going to agree with everything I say, but it's a perspective, and I'm just asking for you to be open in the conversation. The next letter of bow tie is the letter W, which I love this, which is willingness. You're willing to share your own story and own your own truth. I believe that everyone on this call has a unique story, and it's up to you to share it. So it's going to be different times throughout the presentation or definitely at the end that you may be curious, you may have questions, you may have a story, and I invite you to share your story. Now, I don't know also if we have anybody on this call who wear bow ties, but usually people tell me, Steve, you don't wear a bow tie? You want to raise your hand for no bow tie wearer, Steve. Okay, well, okay. Okay, got it. Well, the interesting thing is what people tell me the most challenging part of the bow tie is how to get this knot in the middle, which is like, how to tie it yourself. And this is what I've seen the most challenging parts of conversations and Zoom presentations, which is the TIE. How do you tie it together? How do you leave this conversation better than you came in? And my friends, that is the expectations of today. Let's be here, be open, be willing. Let's have fun. But most importantly, let's tie it together. So if that makes sense to you, in the chat box, will you write the word bow tie? Okay, Keith gave me my first bow tie. Then Doug and Steve, they're coming in. I love it, I love it, I love it, I love it. Because if I didn't see bow ties, we probably would have to start over. Okay, now we can start this presentation, if you will, or conversation. So I told you guys I'm going to be talking about diversity and inclusion. I think it's very important before I go into some data points is that we really start with some of the foundations of these words. And what I mean by that is I'm not going to give you the historic perspective, but what I want to talk to you about is because so many times when we have these conversations, do you know many people don't stop to ask, well, what do these words mean to us? We just kind of expect for everyone to know, like diversity. Okay, yes, yes. Okay, so I want to level set and I want to articulate to you all what these words mean to me. So as I say them at the conversation, you can understand where I'm coming from. So diversity, what is diversity? Diversity to me is twofold. Diversity is visible and invisible differences that make someone complete. Okay, so visually, you may see me on the camera right now. You see a good looking brown guy over here with a bow tie on. That is my visible difference. But invisible, you may not know that I'm one of 13 kids. I can habla Espanol and falo Portuguese. I'm afraid of heights, but I love to travel on planes. So I want people to know when you show up to this word diversity, yes, it is important what you see on the outside, but it's as equally as important are the things you don't see, like your mindset, your ideas, your social economic status, your abilities, your sexual orientation, etc. Okay? Those are both diversity. Make sense? Okay, great. Let's go to the next word, inclusion, because we throw that word a lot. Like everyone talks about inclusion now. I love it. And inclusion to me is very simple. Inclusion is creating an environment, a climate where we behave in a way that we respect all these visible and invisible differences. See, very simple. But we don't want to just stop at respect. We also want to have the space for people to be seen and heard. Now, you may be asking, Dr. Jenkins, why did you put heard in your definition? Well, my friends, how many of you all know you could be doing a lot of talking, but that does not mean anyone is listening? So it's very important, if we want to strive for an inclusive climate, we have to make sure people are seen and heard. Now, I'm not saying that inclusion means that everybody, every idea that's proposed will be implemented. I'm not saying inclusion means that everybody will agree. Inclusion is saying that you have the space for people to belong and they can feel as they are valued, etc. But you can't talk about true inclusion without also talking about equity. And of course, I work with a lot of Fortune 500 leaders. And, you know, when I talk about equity, they understand business equity, but they have a struggle understanding human equity. And so they usually tell me a lot. Well, you know, I'm just here to treat everyone equal. I treat everyone fair. And I said, well, I want to challenge you a little bit. Let's think about an equitable approach and an equitable design, if you will. And they still are just like, well, I just want to treat everyone equal. And so I have to break it down. And so the best way I know to break down the difference between equity and equality is I just lift up my leg and show them my shoe. And this is actually my shoe. I wear a size 10.5 brown shoe. And when it comes to equality, equality is Pauline, you get a shoe, Camille get a shoe, Steve get a shoe, Joe. It's like Oprah, everybody gets shoes, okay? That is equality. But equity is giving everyone on this call a shoe that fits them. Now you got to think about that. Matter of fact, I have a question. Camille, can you hear me? Let's see. Can you unmute yourself, Camille? There we go. Camille, question for you. Hey, how are you doing?
Good, how are you?
I'm great. Hey, Camille, if you don't mind me asking and you sharing, what size shoe do you wear?
8.
8, okay. And what's your favorite color shoe to wear?
Black.
Black, okay. Well, black, I like brown. We're in the B family, okay. Well, I ask you this. How would you feel, Camille, if I asked you to show up every day with my size 10.5 brown shoe on?
Probably uncomfortable.
And what will you do?
I'd probably go barefoot.
So, okay, thank you so much, Camille, for your participation. My friends, so I asked Camille, I said, how would she feel if she shows up with my size 10.5 brown shoe on? She said, probably uncomfortable. I said, what would she do? This is interesting. I do this experiment a lot, and 90%, well, actually 95% to be accurate, says that they'll feel uncomfortable, you know, they'll flop over, et cetera, et cetera. But do you know, and did you hear what she did not say to me? She did not say, Dr. Jenkins, I don't care about your ugly brown shoe. It's not my favorite color. It's not my size. And guess what? I'm not showing up. Here's my point, my friends. We actually have people showing up in our spaces every day with shoes that are given to them, and it's not their size, and they're forced to wear them, and they're very uncomfortable. Now, what's also interesting about this is some have been so uncomfortable and wearing these shoes every day that they have forgot how uncomfortable it feels, and they smile. Okay, that's another presentation. Let's keep going. So here's another great example between equity and equality. You've probably seen this all across social media. And if this is your first time seeing this, it's basically sharing that these individuals are trying to have access to see the baseball game, okay? And you can see equality. It has the crates and the barrels, etc. And you can see equity with the crates. Do you know when I show this to leaders, do you know I still have people ask me, so Dr. Jenkins, what you're saying is, this is just a short people initiative. So we had to really go and redesign this diagram. Because when we're talking about equity, my friends, we're not talking about the question of height, but what we're looking at is the question of the structural barriers to opportunity. That's what we're talking about. And whether you like it or not, and honestly, whether you or I created it, we have the reality that we're not all showing up the same way. And I want to challenge you to think about that, my friends. What is your reality? What is the reality of your club? What is the reality of your community? And what is the reality of our society? So you may be asking, why are we talking about this again tonight? You know, we love diversity and inclusion conversation. Why is this important? Well, you know, working with several leaders, I see three ways people show up to this space, especially in the workplace. The first case, I call it the moral case. And this is when people tell me, well, you know, this is the right thing to do. So we should be talking about this. Okay, case number one. Case number two, I call it the social case. The world is changing, our community is changing, so we need to change as well. That's case number two. But do you know that several people do not agree or support the moral case or the social case of this? But one case that I've been able to see stick really well is the business case. And the business case says, if we get this right as an organization, you all would make more money or save money. And then everybody want to meet with me for a one-on-one coaching session after that deliverables of those stats. And I also think it's a strong case for us as Rotarians. And I believe that if we get this right as Rotarians, if we continue to strive for inclusive climates and cultures, guess what? It makes us all bigger and better and stronger together. And it's a case where everyone is included. And guess what? Everyone wins, including straight white old men. Everybody wins in inclusion. And I love it. 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 Because we all have an opportunity to be invited to the party and dance how we want to dance. And I love it because I like to dance. So let me tell you a quick story of this little boy I got to know very well. This little kid, he was also raised in the inner city in the South. And this little kid, his mother had him at a young age, and he was raised in a low income area, what they call the projects or the hood. I forgot what they call it in Canada. What's the equivalent? It's not the slums, right? So was somebody writing in the chat? I forgot. Or Steve, what's the name?
Same thing.
Oh,
Right.
it's the hood? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, well, this kid talk about the hood a lot. And in the hood and the South, he, you know, a lot of things that you may think of stereotypes or what really happens in the hood, it was happening in his hood. And he actually thought, hearing his story, he thought they were very rich. He never knew how poor he was because his mother painted their walls, colored walls. And all the other apartments, they had white walls. So he just thought they was rich because they had color walls, you know, on as far as the paint. But it's also some other things that happen in the hood, crime, violence, gangs. But one of the things that was very shocking to me is that this is actually one of the hoods in the US that is a national research study that they examine the third graders' test scores to determine and predict how many prison beds to build. This is that hood projects in the South of the US. But despite all of the things that was going on, he will always talk about these volunteers who came out to the hood to recruit members to come out to this camp. And this camp was very interesting. It was a Christian camp. And at this Christian camp, he would talk about, like, you know, it was not many, you know, Black people there, but he didn't really know that it was a Black-white thing, right? But he just thought everybody was just really, really nice people. He had a great time at the camp. He used to talk about, you know, how he learned how to swim, how he learned how to shoot a rifle, canoe, etc. Just all these other types of experiences. It was also funny hearing the comparison between this Christian camp with their singing versus his singing at his grandmother's church. And, you know, it was like a Black gospel singing versus a white Christian. And so he would talk about the songs, which is just a little different, but they were all singing to the same God. It was kind of funny hearing his interpretations of the music. But also outside of this camp, he also talked about school. And at school, I don't know if you all remember or recall your teachers, your favorite teacher. You could also probably recall the teacher that you probably didn't like that much, but he was able to recall all his teachers, all his grade school teachers, because of the impact they had on his life. But something also that was very unique about this little boy is that he was raised in the Black district. And so if you look on the screen, it's not as large. This first picture is the school in the Black district, his elementary and middle school. Well, he had to test out of that school to go to the school in the white district, which you can see how that high school looked on the second picture on the screen. Not only he had to test into that district, well, he wasn't zoned for it. So the only way he was able to go to that school, he was lucky and blessed because his grandmother was a janitor worker at the school. So that's how he was able to actually get that education at that school and be afforded that opportunity. Well, he beat the odds. He graduated from high school, which was very, very uncommon in his hood. And he didn't stop there. He also went on to college and he started to really try to understand how the brain works and how human behavior allocates and align itself. But Rotary was his first ticket abroad, where he studied at University of Campinas, where he learned how to speak Portuguese. And that little boy is here today talking to you all, smiling with a big bow tie. Why do I tell you this little story? It's because first, I'm a proud Rotarian. You know why? Because I've experienced Rotary and I'm experiencing Rotary. And I love Rotary. It's really, really fun. I really do. I love Rotary. Rotary has really expanded my reach into places I never thought I'd go. I mean, even when I was in Canada, I was able to meet the Prime Minister due to Rotary at the Rotary Convention. I was able to sit on a panel after and during the Rotary Convention that we were able to meet one of the officials from England. So it was, it's been just incredible. But here's my message. There's hope, my friends, for people like me, because of the choice that you have chosen to do in Rotary. You have chosen to show up. It is your choice because of your heart. Because, I was just looking and reviewing. You guys just had a phenomenal event. Look at the choice that you guys are continuing to do in the midst of all that's happening in our world. You're choosing to volunteer to be something bigger and better. And I still think there's hope that we could be bigger and better in this diversity and inclusion space as Rotarians. I really, really believe it. You know why? Because we help end polio. You know why? Because we have a seat at the UN table. You know why? It's because we have a global reach with local action. And you know why? Because you made a choice to show up. And so I want to tell you really quickly some of the things that's happening in Rotary around this initiative. I'm extremely grateful. I was invited to come and serve on the Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Task Force for Rotary International. It's around 6 or 7 of us that we're kind of really helping with this diversity, equity, and inclusion plan. And it's not easy, but we're on that journey. So I don't know if you guys knew this, but in 2019, our board of directors, they adopted a position statement. Y'all remember that, where they created that? Well, let me correct myself. They did not create the position statement. It was proposed to them and they adopted it, okay? So it was a statement adopted around diversity, equity, and inclusion, but they did not stop there. They also adopted some goals. And we put some goals in place around women in Rotary. Okay, and the goals are to be 30% of women in Rotary by 2023, not just regular representation, but also in leadership. And some people ask me a lot, well, why did we focus on women only and not all the other identities that we may be underrepresented in? Well, as a global organization, you know, this was something that they were able to align on, but also additionally, this is kind of the only best metric that we have in our Rotary database, which is gender. And we now have age. And that's starting to get better, but it's still not as great as the data we have on gender. So that's why they put that goal in place. Just want to let you all know that. As well as I want to show you all some of the stats of where we're at today around the world with women in Rotary, okay? We're 24% of Rotarians are women, and you can look across the world. You still have some areas that as low as 7%. We have, and look what they did to us. They looped us all together. Those Americans, like, I just think it's always interesting, right? But we got a big percentage, you know, because we're all across, etc. But you got to take into account that, you know, certain local laws and policies of region, it's still parts of the world where women still are not allowed in this organization, or definitely is not common, right? I was just on a call earlier with some of our friends in Japan, and they were talking about some of the same challenges that they have within gender roles of their country. Also, I want to talk to you all and show you where we're at with women in leadership for our current class. So based on the last 5 years, we're actually up with we're on the up with our club presidents who are women, and DGs who are women. We're a little bit down on our regional leaders, which are you know, some of our zone leaders, if you will. We're up on our directors, which is pretty good. And of course, to this date of this stat, we have not had a Rotary International president who have actually served as a woman. But we all know our great friend Jennifer Jones on her birthday. Happy birthday! I love her. She's a good friend of mine. And so, yes, she's breaking the ceiling. I love it. And so the other thing is I want to show you all is that here's the women that are serving. But let me be very, very clear, because I actually know all these women. And oh yeah, Valerie, I have a call with her in the morning. But I know all these great Rotarians. And I would tell you all, none of these women are up there because of they're a woman, okay? I just want you all to know that. Let me say that out loud. They are very qualified, very competent, very skilled, and they actually have the experience. And what's very, very interesting based on our research, do you know that it takes an average of 33 years of Rotary experience before you could probably get to their role? Well, guess what? I'm barely hitting 30. So it's like, I don't know if I'm gonna hang around that long. The other thing is I want you all to know is that, of course, if you guys know the history, Miss Sylvia Whitlock, she was the first club president, who's a woman in 1987 in California. And what was interesting, that was before I was born, and that wasn't because of Rotary made that decision. I think a lot of people know this now, but it's because of the Supreme Court. That's why women was able to get into Rotary. And not only was she the first woman, but she's also something else that people leave out. She was also a Black woman, or she is a Black woman because she's still living. She's like my mother. I call her my mom. But yeah, so she is great. I want to call that out for her. But here we are today in the midst of two pandemics. One, the world recognized COVID-19. The second, the world is like waking up to again, which is racism. But look what Holger did in California last year of our theme this year. What more fitting theme? Rotary Open Opportunities. And I love it because look at him. His hands are open. The doors are open. He's not turning his back. And so I love that about Rotary. That was because we were tested this year. Trust me, we were tested this year as Rotarians. Look at you guys. Everybody got a PhD in Zoom now. You know, this was prior to Rotary. You know, they had a big conversation at conventions like, oh no, Rotary don't like technology. We can never get there, blah. Look at that. Now we're going to have our international convention again, virtually. Look at how we open opportunities. And I think we can still continue to open up opportunities in this space of inclusion. So I want to give you a couple thoughts before I wrap up to think about as we open this space. Because guess what, my friends? We're on a journey here and the best is yet to come, okay? The best is yet to come. Here's the first thing you can start with, because everyone asks me, so Dr. Jenkins, where do we start as a club? Where do we start as a workplace? Well, inclusion starts with the letter I. I know. It starts with the letter I. Why do I have to tell you this? Because so many times when I work with organizations, I say, write down the barriers, write down the challenges of diversity and inclusion in your community. Do you know less than 0.5% ever write down their own name? No one ever thinks they're the problem, okay? So I'm not telling you that you are the problem, but what I'm asking you to do is look within before you start judging on the outside, to really think about and ask these questions. How do I show up in this space? What is my inclusion story? Because I believe everyone has a story. And what do I not know that I'm curious to learn about, just like people learn about my bow tie? So think about that. The next thing I share with you is that, because people ask me this question a lot in Rotary too, we just got some different styles of thinking in our club. We can never get their tie because but you know what? As a psychologist, I know mindsets are the hardest to change, but I know they can be changed. But I know I'm about to really probably throw somebody for the loop, because guess what, my friends? I'm not here to change your minds, because I really don't care how you think. But what I care about is how you behave, because I can't see how you think, but I can see how you behave. So the question that I have to you is, are you behaving in a way that we are respecting all these visible and invisible differences? And if you really want to know, if you want to do a social experiment, go on your Facebook and update your status and say, I am the most diverse, equitable, and inclusive leader in our community. And if all your friends come back and say, who hacked your account? And they start laughing with the emojis, guess what? They don't think you're the most diverse and inclusive leader in your community, okay? So you gotta really think about, your behaviors, my friends. The next thing I would say is, in this work, you must continue to have an open mind and open heart. Open mind and open heart. Continue to practice grace and empathy, not only for yourself, but also for others. You're not gonna always get it right. You're not gonna always say the right things, but do you have the courage to correct yourself when something went the left way? Do you have the courage to ask those uncomfortable questions? This is why I would leave you with this thought too. Because guess what? Because people, I do a lot of unconscious bias training with companies and stuff. But let me tell you something. You can never control your first thought, but you can manage your second thought and your first reaction. And that's what we're trying to get into, is the management of that second thought and first reaction. And of course, just like anything else, you can't make any types of change or transformation without action. Okay, we can do a lot of talking, a lot of Zoom meetings, but you have to have something to do. And I've learned in this space that small changes can make a big difference. You don't have to go out and do this big old bang theory. No, a small change can make a big difference. And think about the collective difference we will make if everybody on this call make a conscious choice to make a small change. We need each other. The world is watching. Your kids are watching. Your neighbors are watching. And I want to remind yourself to watch yourself, because so many times we don't watch ourselves. And as grandma say, you need to continue to watch yourself before you wreck yourself, okay? Gotta watch it. So here's my last thought, and I'm gonna open it up. When we come back together next year, or if I meet with you and I ask you, show me your inclusive resume, what will be on it? And I'm not here to judge your resume. I'm really not here to validate your resume. I just want you to be proud to say, this is what I'm doing and this is how I'm behaving. So my friends, thank you guys so much for having me. Here's my contact information. I'm gonna drop it in the chat so you could connect with me on Instagram, Facebook. I even have a podcast too. If you're interested, check out my podcast, Bowtie Combo. And I love y'all. I have a book coming out too, so that'll be launched in spring. Okay, I'm gonna stop talking about myself and stop sharing and see if we got questions.
Wow, you are a tour de force, Dr. Bowtie. That was fantastic.
Thanks.
Firsthand, I saw another question. Don, go ahead. Or Sherry. I don't know whose finger that was. Either one of you ask.
I'm going to unmute us. I just wanted to thank you so much. I don't know if I've ever been more inspired and be so proud to be on the same team as you, Dr. Todd.
Yes.
And I don't want to get too far ahead of yourself, but I'm not so sure we haven't witnessed a speech from the future of the President of the United States. And I sure hope we have, because you are so inspiring. And the texts that have come across the screen about how impressed and how enthralled we are to have listened to you. Anyway, I don't even have enough words.
Can I add one?
Yes, you can.
It was so interesting to hear of your experience coming from Brazil and going to Brazil. I'm sorry. And we had a Rotarian student come and live with us. Exchange student, yes, live with us, Wilton, and we still keep in contact with him. He went to high school with our children, and it was the most marvelous experience to have to share that sort of scholarship, inclusion, teaching him so many things we had to go, he got here when he initially landed, he didn't even have winter clothes. We were out running around getting him all his stuff because he went, it's so cold, it's so cold. Anyways, Wilton was something in our life that we treasure, and for all of our children. And so I just say that it's a wonderful experience to be a part of Rotary from the ground up. And yes, Dr. Todd, I do see you being somewhere very special one day.
You're special. You're very special now.
Yes.
Oh, thank y'all. Y'all are so kind. I'm so glad we're on the same team. I love it. I love it. I love it. And I am a strong advocate for Youth Exchange, and I'm our district chair. I'm our Youth Exchange officer. Check it out, in the future and all that great stuff. But I thank y'all for sharing your story.
Excellent. We got time for, is it okay if we take one more question, Dr. Todd? We could stay here all day long, but I'm going to ask Ellie.
Thank you, Dr. Todd. For the last, decade or so, I was an employee with a international engineering firm. And we were, I'm going to use the word forced to sit through diversity and inclusion training every year. What I'd like to know is, can I forward them your information? Because let me tell you, the crap that we sat through, the boring, people falling asleep, what you have presented tonight was so far superior. My company really needs to hear you.
Oh, that's really kind. Yes, well,
you're good with it.
Yes,
they're downtown Toronto. They're in New York City. They're around the world.
Yes. We work with companies of all shapes and sizes, locally and globally. Please, I would love to connect and see what we can do to support.
Well, this company's got about 40,000 employees around the world. So
sounds good. Sounds great. I would love to.
I will share. Yeah, absolutely. You were fantastic.
Thank you. Oh my God! I need to send me the recording of this. I need to play this on my rainy
we certainly
day.
will. Listen, Dr. Jenkins, what a fantastic event. We one of our members has made a donation on behalf of our club to your foundation. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I put my hand up a couple times. Yeah, I wrote the disaster recovery plans for the Bank of the Ozarks. And also for Domtar, and I got the pleasure of going to Bennettsville, South Carolina. So
wow,
I also prefer to use a South Carolina rub when I'm smoking ribs. So
well, hopefully when this, hopefully I come and visit you all. I love Canada. I had so many opportunities to be in Canada this year, and due to COVID, I did not come. So hopefully I come see you all sooner or later. But thank you again so much for having me. I love you all. Joe, thank you so much for your heart. And you all connect with me anytime. I look forward to connecting with you all.
Thank you. You're welcome to stay because we've got an exciting rest of our agenda, but we know how busy you are. So it's okay if you've got to move on.
Yes, thank you, sir.
Thank you. Wow, that was fantastic. All right, moving on. It's gonna be hard, but
Steve,
yep,
who organized that speaking?
that was Joe. Joe
Oh.
and Rachel were
That
the spearheads of it.
Brilliant.
I just have to tell you that it's the third time I've been on a session with him, and each time I learn something new. Like every time, if you stay with him, you learn something new, and he really is an amazing guy. And I guess, as a club and as Rotarians, we have to ask ourselves, what can we learn from that, and how can we move forward? Which was
Well, he was brilliant. So thank you guys so much for doing that.
Fantastic. Well, we're moving on with the agenda here. We've got Know Your Rotarian. So Chris and Rajesh have taken a few moments to get to know each other, and they're going to take 5-8 minutes of time here to let us know what they found out. Over to you, Chris and Rajesh.
Yeah, pros.
Okay, who's going first? Shall I go?
You go first. Chris first.
Okay, I'll go first.
There you go.
Before I start, actually, I would like to thank Amy Barney for coming up with the Know Your Rotarian concept. It's a great idea, and it's a wonderful way to get to know the other Rotarians. So thank you, Amy. Well done. Okay, Rajesh Agarwal. Well, Rajesh, as you know, is a relatively new Rotarian. He joined our club back in October 2020. So I guess about 4 months ago, 3.5, something like that. So he's a new guy. So welcome, Rajesh. I don't know if I welcome you personally, but welcome. He lives in Whitby with his wife, Neha, and 2 young kids. He's got a 5-year-old boy and a 14-month-old girl. He was born in India, and he came to Canada as a student in 2013. His first location in Canada was actually New Brunswick. He moved to Toronto in 2015 when he got married to Neha. And since 2017, they have lived in Whitby. Rajesh is an IT professional, and he's worked in marketing, customer service, and systems integration over the last 8 years. He likes traveling. He's been to Turkey and Dubai, among other places, and someday he plans to travel across Canada from east to west. In 2014, he was in China for 3 months as part of a university exchange program. Although initially, excuse me, he had to use his cell phone as a translator when he first went there. By the end of the 3 months, he was actually able to converse in Chinese with the locals, which is quite an achievement. Chinese is not an easy language to learn. He's not an avid sports fan, meaning he doesn't like to watch a lot of sports on TV, but he does like to play badminton and table tennis, which 2 sports that I actually do myself. When it comes to sports, Rajesh and I also have something else in common. Neither of us is a fan of cricket. This is the game, not the insect. And this is a bit unusual because most people born in former colonies of the UK actually like cricket, and they're very passionate about it. I was surprised when he told me that he wasn't very keen on that. When it comes to food, Rajesh is a vegetarian, but he's not a vegan. That means he actually eats milk, eggs, and cheese. For those who don't know, what's the difference between a vegan and a vegetarian? He likes different cuisines, and he really liked the food when he lived in China. Now, when it comes to music, he likes all kinds of music, but he does prefer dance music, instrumental, and relaxation type music. Also, before he came to Canada, he used to do yoga and meditation, but I guess now with 2 young kids, he says he doesn't have much time to do that. Although I would think that with 2 kids, probably you need to do more yoga and relaxation. He's been coping well with the COVID restrictions and lockdowns because he's an easygoing guy and he doesn't get frustrated or angry very easily. His philosophy is to take things one day at a time. He has a positive attitude to life and believes that things always work out in the end, which is something else that we have in common, I guess. He also recently got a poker set as a present, and he is keen to learn how to play poker. So I promise that when the COVID restrictions are over, I'm going to teach him how to do that. So this is a little brief, but since we don't have a lot of time, I'm going to finish here. And I hope you get some appreciation of one of our newest members.
Thank you.
Welcome,
Chris.
Rajesh.
Well done. Well done. Good to get to know you, Rajesh.
Yeah.
Why don't you tell us about Mr. Chris Tadulu?
So Chris, I would say he's a very calm person, as I can say while I was talking to him, and for whatever time I met him in person, and he's a very good listener too. So Chris was born in Cyprus, and when he was about 15 years ago, he left Cyprus, went to UK, and his aunt lived in UK where he went. So, and he studied in UK for about when he was 15 years old, he studied in UK. And his major area is electrical engineering. And after he completed his engineering, he started to work with GEC turbines. And while he got married, and his wife is also from UK. But I'm not pretty sure, Chris, if you met your wife in UK or if you met her when you were in Canada. So I missed that part. I'm sorry.
No, it was UK. It was when I was there. I was sent to the town in the Northeast, in Darlington, actually.
Yeah.
It's a town called Darlington.
Yeah.
And I lived there, I worked there, and that's how we met.
Yeah. So he met his wife in UK. And in 1981, he joined Ontario Hydro, which now is called OPG, Ontario Power Generation. And in November 1981, he came to Canada, where he started working with OPG now. And in 2013, he got retired. So, and Chris, as a person, really misses the food that his mom used to cook, and at times he tries to cook at home, asking his sister about the recipe or how he can cook a certain food that his mom used to make. So I can say Chris is a food-loving guy, and he mostly likes lentils, beans, rice, potato, roast beefs, and also fish and chips, and he loves a lot of curries as well.
Yep.
So Chris has 2 daughters. One of them lives in Curtis and one of them is in Ottawa. One of his daughter has a boy and a girl, and the one that lives in Curtis, and boy is 3.5-year-old and girl is about 1.2 years old. And another daughter who lives in Ottawa has 2 twin boys, and who are 7 years old, and a girl who is 10 years old. He frequently visits his daughters and makes sure he spends good enough quality time with both of his daughter and grandchildren. So he's a family person as well, and I can say he must be enjoying a lot with his grandchildren. Apart from that, when it comes to friends, he loves helping his friends. He has helped them in renovating the cottage, in small handyman skills, and any help that his friends ask him for. Also, he plays poker. Before the COVID, he used to go for a Friday poker night. So they used to play poker, start at about 10 p.m. and go until 1 or 2 a.m. They used to have a lot of fun, a lot of talk, and a good time with friends. And when it comes to sports, he loves badminton. He is a member of a badminton club as well, and he plays. I can say I'm sure he plays pretty well badminton. So maybe sometime I and Chris can have, or we can have a badminton game with him. And also, he, as I said earlier about food, he loves to cook. So he tries his traditional cooking so that he can cope up. One day he can cope up with the same taste of food that his mom used to make with the help of his sister. And so, Chris, what does it mean? So Chris is a Greek name which means served under Christ. So that is what is all about Chris. And I'm pretty sure most of you might be knowing. If not, then you might have known something more about Chris today.
Oh, that's fantastic, Rajesh. Yeah, some of us know Chris, but not all of us because they're new Rotarians all the time. Really like it. Thanks. And Gord, you beat me to the punch. Sorry, Amy, I'm going to steal your thunder away. It was Linda's idea to bring this idea back, but I think in its first generation, it was under Don Gleed's leadership as president that we first tried this.
Oh, great. It wasn't that hard.
Yeah. What, to steal your thunder?
No, to beat you to the punch. You're not stealing Amy's thunder. She actually wrote that in the earlier chat.
Oh, did she? Okay. All right. A couple more important things. I know we're running over, but this is good. Rebecca is going to give us a community update. Rebecca, where are you? There you are.
Here. Thanks, President Steve. So I'll just take a couple minutes. So when I first was assigned community update, I wasn't sure what I was going to do. And then after a really great call that I had with Steve, I decided to kind of give you a little bit of insight into a project that I'm working on actually through IBW. So besides having to deal with Gord all day at IBW, one of the things that I am in charge of is I'm the project manager for Port Hope Area Initiative. It's a project that our firm is working with the Port Hope community and government communities to work on remediation work in Port Hope. So I always say that, and I feel like the room's kind of divided. Some people have heard about it, some people have never heard about it. And I think that it's really good for, especially everyone in this community who live in Clarington. We're a very much nuclear-driven community, especially with OPG not too far away from us. So I figured I'd kind of fill you in on what's going on in the project and kind of what I've learned over the last 2 years project managing IBW's part. So Port Hope Area Initiative is essentially a remediation project that's being run by the Government of Canada. And it's a remediation project that is basically dealing with disposing of historic radioactive waste that's found in the Port Hope community. So just a fun fact, not really that funny, but there's 1.2 million cubic meters of historic waste in Port Hope right now, which is absolutely insane. I tried to go on and find those converters to try to figure out what it would convert to in football fields, but I was just like, forget it. I couldn't find something that was relatable enough. But that's an extreme number, and it's an extreme amount of waste that exists in Port Hope, and it's due to the local nuclear factory that exists there in the early 1900s. So there was a nuclear factory there. It's called El Dorado Nuclear, and they were a nuclear company that was taking mining radioactive material, so uranium and radium, from the Northwest Territories and bringing it to the Port Hope community to process it. In doing that and disposing of this nuclear waste, they were creating a ton of basically exposed soils and particles that the community was exposed to. So just a couple fun, interesting facts. So in 1942, they actually supplied the US military with uranium products, and they were linked to the Manhattan Project. And it wasn't until 1960 that they moved to the power plant processing, where they used it for nuclear power plant energy generation. But from about 1920 to 1960, it was all used for nuclear bombs, which is kind of interesting because it's just on our back doorstep. It's actually the largest volume of historic low-level waste in Canada. And most people don't know that our Canadian government's actually spending $1.2 billion right now to clean up this waste, which I'm happy to say that Gordon and I are collecting some of that money through our work at IBW. And yeah, so I guess I'll tell you a little bit about what Gordon and I do when we work with the Port Hope Area Initiative Project. So essentially what we're doing is we're surveying the different the different houses and the different public property pieces to create topographic surveys for them to remediate and to basically tear it all up. And basically they're redoing house porches, they're lifting up house foundations, and they're digging out like hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of cubic square meters of this waste and disposing of it. So it's kind of interesting. And like I said, it's just on our back doorstep. So I thought I'd let everyone kind of give you some facts. Sorry if it was boring.
No, it wasn't boring at all. That was fantastic. A lot of us hear the words Port Hope Initiative, but don't really know what it is. So you've kind of wet our whistle on it. That's fantastic.
Good job,
Rebecca.
Thanks.
Hi, Rebecca. That was really interesting because my father was one of the first people to be involved in that, Larry Hall. I was born and raised in Port Hope as well, so I know quite a bit about it, and I was interested in hearing what you were doing. I'm so glad it's still going on because it's always been an ongoing problem. And yeah, he was a town councilman there as well for quite a while, and a broadcaster, and he wrote for the Port Hope Guide when it was a paper. Well, he wrote for a number of papers, but yeah, so he was involved in that as well. So it's interesting to hear you speak about it.
That's awesome. Yeah, it started in 2010 and it's like 5 years over timeline. So I don't see it going anywhere anytime soon.
Right. Well, what a fantastic segue with the question from Leanna. We're moving on to our induction of our latest Rotarian, Leanna Hall. So is our induction committee all ready? Doug and Rachel and Chris and Gord, I think. Right. Okay, well, I'm pleased to announce today, I'm going to read the script here, folks, so that's why I'm looking away. I'm pleased to announce today that we will be inducting a new member into our club. And Gord brought Leanna to our club. So Gord, step forward and wave your hand. Would you like me to introduce Leanna, or are you going to do that? Okay. Well, Leanna is a retired GM worker. She's a mother of 2 kids, one of whom happens to be very good friends with James Wallace. And interesting, some people join Rotary because they think there are business connections in there for them, or someone is kind of putting them in a position where they feel they should. Leanna's come forward, as she told Gord, because she wants to do good in the community. She wants to be part of the grocery program. And that is the best kind of new member. Leanna, we can't be any more excited than we are to welcome you into the club.
Thank you.
So with that, I'll move back to my script now. Leanna Hall, the board of this club supports your membership, and I now call upon the induction team of Rotarians, Doug Sears, Chris Delasco, and Rachel Boyd, to acquaint you with the responsibilities of we Rotarians. Over to you, Doug.
Yeah.
I think you're next, Doug, right?
Yep. Leanna, today you are chosen for a membership in this Rotary Club because we believe you to be a leader in your classification and you have the qualities required to deliver the message of Rotary to your fellow citizens. Every vocation provides others with things of educational value, and so we will expect to learn of these values through you in your classification. We also see you as a representative of others in your vocation, and we ask that you will be an ambassador from our club and carry the ideals and principles of service and Rotary back to them. It is my pleasure to welcome you and present you with the object of Rotary, which we'll provide a little later. We hope you will place You will display this prominently in your place of business. And at this point, I would shake your hand. Of course, I can.
Thank you.
So I'll turn it over now to Chris.
Welcome, Leanna. While membership in Rotary is an honor and a privilege, it also involves duties and obligations. Effective membership is achieved by regular attendance at our weekly meetings. One of the great privileges of Rotary is the fellowship and the mutual confidence it inspires. We expect you to bear your share of the responsibility for developing these relationships so that we as a club can provide maximum assistance and inspiration to others. In the name of Rotary, it's my pleasure and privilege to present you with your lapel pin, which I'm sure you'll get very shortly, for you to wear as a symbol of our Rotary ideals. I hope you'll wear it proudly on all occasions.
I will. Thank you. Thanks,
Welcome.
Chris.
And Rachel.
Anna, it's nice to meet you.
Hi, Rachel.
Hi. We ask that all members constantly keep before themselves the primary object of Rotary. Service above self is our motto, and we expect that what is embodied in this phrase must be personalized in the character and life of our members. Rotary cannot perform its task by artificial allegiance to its principles. Our community will know and judge Rotary through your embodiment of its character and service. We accept you as a member because we believe our principles and organization are safe in your keeping. Welcome, Leanna.
Thank you. Thanks, Rachel.
All right. Well, Leanna, the responsibilities and obligations of Rotary have been explained to you, and I am assured that you will give our club faithful service. I call upon all of you to welcome our new member, to cultivate a friendship and help make her service to Rotary useful and happy. How do we welcome new Rotarians?
Welcome.
Thank you.
Welcome, Leanna.
Thank you.
Fantastic. Welcome to the club, Leanna.
Thank you.
This is an interesting time to join the club. There's so
Isn't
much
it?
more ahead of you here. We can't wait to be together and do fellowship and service activities. Bear with us, but thank you so much for joining our club.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah, looking forward to helping any way I can. Yeah.
Excellent. Well, Chris, you have a quote of the day for us.
I do. Thank you, President Steve.
Okay.
As everybody knows, I'm pretty sure you saw it all on social media today. It was Bow Let's Talk Day. So try to find something that, that's a good reminder for all of us. You yourself, as much as anybody in the entire universe, deserve your love and affection.
That's lovely. Thank you, Chris. Well, this has been quite a meeting, folks. A little bit longer than expected, but really worthwhile. If there's nothing else for the good of Rotary,
Wait.
Of course, there's always something. What did I forget, Gord?
Fred's got his hand up. You can't just say, "Is there nothing else for the good of Rotary?" and then just quickly,
Well, sorry, I had a sheet of paper and it was covering Fred actually, so that's my defense. Fred, what do you have for the good of Rotary? You're muted, Fred. Still muted.
That's awesome.
See, Leanna, you're really good at Zoom. Fred's still learning. He's been on every one of these, right?
3-0 for the Habs.
3-0 for the Habs. That's not for the good of Rotary.
It certainly is.
It is not.
Yeah.
So Leanna, Rebecca will drop off a Rotary pin for you this week.
Well, that's not fair because I still haven't given Leah hers. So.
And she'll also drop one off to Leah's house as well.
Perfect. All right. If there's nothing else for the good of Rotary, remembering the things that we say and we do. Is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendship? I always have a hard time with that one. And will it be beneficial to all concerned? And have yourselves a lovely evening. And we'll see you all Tuesday morning.
Great meeting, Fred.
Hey, guys.
Thank you.
Good night, everyone.
Good night.
See ya.
Good night. Mm.